welcome to the One Pot Chef Show. My name is David and I am the One Pot Chef. I got a special request during the week for more sausage recipes after I did the hot dog flavoured sausage rolls a couple of weeks ago. So we're going to show you a very simple sausage casserole, which is a bit of a twist on an old classic, sausages and brown onion gravy. This is my tomato and onion sausages casserole. Now, first things first, you've got two options. You can either do the stovetop version or the oven version. I'm going to show you the stovetop version, and I'll then explain how to do it in the oven later. First things first, what we'll need is the staple of a barbecue, sausages. These are just leftover sausages which were cooked, and I've just chopped them into little chunks. We're also going to need some frozen veggies, tin of tomato soup, and a few other bits and bobs. First things first, what we need to do is get onto the stove, and we're going to make gravy. Okay, now making this gravy is incredibly simple. We just start with a little bit of olive oil, not much, and obviously turn on our stove. There we go, and just heat that oil up slightly. We're going to add some rehydrated dried onion flakes. So there's about a tablespoon in there. Mind the fingers, sorry. There we go. And we're just going to lightly fry those. We're just going to add a good squirt of tomato sauce to the onions. I'd say probably about a quarter of a cup of tomato sauce. So just mix that in. And just give it a good stir. That's the way. Add a little bit of salt and pepper. Pepper refuses to cooperate. Nothing new there. Just give that a good stir in. And we're also going to add a bit of a splash of Worcestershire sauce. A bit more than a splash. And you'll start to see the tomato sauce is now starting to go kind of brown. This is basically brown onion sauce, which many of you will probably know from your childhood. Now, next thing in is a little bit of flour, probably about a quarter of a cup. Not much, don't need it. And just gently stir that in. Now, a lot of people panic at this stage because they think, oh my god, what have I done? Because it starts to look like this weird brown paste. Relax, that is normal. So make sure you've got your stove on a low setting, you don't want to burn this. So basically it's going to look like that, which is totally unappealing at this point, but don't worry, it gets better. We turn off the stove and we start adding a little bit of water. Now, just a small amount at a time, that's probably about a quarter of a cup, and mix the water and the paste a bit. If you add the water too quickly, it doesn't mix in properly. And we just add a little bit more. This is probably the most fiddly part of the recipe. Once you've done this bit, it's all literally throw it into the pot. So, as you can see, it's starting to turn a little bit more gravyish now. A bit more. That's getting pretty good there. Don't worry if it's a little bit lumpy, because the lumps do dissolve eventually when you cook this off, because you've still got to add a few ingredients from here on in. As you can see, that's starting to turn a bit more gravyish. Add another bit of water. There. Sloppy with the water at the moment. So the more you've added the water, the little bit more you can add, because, as I said, just a bit at a time. Probably would have been better with a smaller... Oh, jeez, I'm not happy with this stove, am I? I'm bashing it to pieces. Okay, so we're going to have a few lumps in this, but as I said, they do dissolve when you cook this off later. There we go. Very simple. So you should have something that looks a bit like this. It's just a thin gravy with a few lumps in it. That's what we're looking for. Okay, next thing we're going to add is something you should have in your cupboard, 1 tin of tomato soup. And we just tip the whole thing in. Right in. Waste not, want not, get it all in. In you go. And stir it all in. Now the tomato soup, in it has thickeners added to the soup. So when you add this to the gravy, the whole gravy becomes nice and thick. So it's very important to use that. So as I said before, when I said it was thin with lumps, this is what fixes it. And you can see there, we've got a beautiful tomato and onion gravy. Absolutely delicious there, and all the lumps are slowly starting to disappear. And there we go. Now it's time to add a few more ingredients. Right, so that's the basic gravy done. So this is fairly simple thrown together. As I said, that's the most fiddly bit. So if you can handle doing that, the rest of it's going to be a breeze. So first things first, we've got chopped up 12 regular sized sausages which have been cooked. So we just drop them in. And we're adding to that about 2 cups of mixed frozen vegetables. There we go. Now, if you've got any leftover potatoes or any tinned baby potatoes, feel free to add these now. Otherwise, you can just serve some potatoes with this dish or maybe some rice. So, there we go. And that's basically the casserole there. Now all you need to do is stick this onto the stove and heat it up for about probably 10 to 15 minutes. Just check until it's, because you don't have to cook the meat because it's already cooked, just until it's hot. And that's basically the simple casserole. Now, as I promised, you can also do this in the oven. Now, the only difference is that you use whole, uncooked sausages. That's much simpler that way. What you do is you get your casserole dish, you put your raw sausages and your vegetables on top, then you just make the gravy as normal, pour it in and put it into the oven for about 45 minutes, 180 degrees. After that, check one of the sausages by taking it out and cutting it in half, just to make sure it's cooked all the way through. If it's not, shove it in for another 5 or 10 minutes. And that's it. So that's tomato and onion casserole sausage, well, tomato and onion sausage casserole. I hope you enjoyed. I am the One Pot Chef. Thank you very much for watching.